Well, hello there, everyone. I am Lisa Edmonds.
And I'm Hope LaMonica.
And welcome to At This Age. Today, we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions. Did you make one? Do you make them?
Why do you make them?
Why do you make them? Did you make one this year, Hope?
Okay.
We're going to get into this.
So, I quit making New Year's resolutions probably about 10 years ago.
Did you?
Because what's the point? Please tell me a resolution that you've kept. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Well, I think I've done the weight one every year for most of my life.
And so I do the weight one, and if I say I'm going to lose 20 pounds, I gain 20 pounds.
Okay, it kind of goes in reverse.
So I always do the reverse of what I want, and that happens.
So if you say, I'm going to gain 20 pounds this year, then you lose 20 pounds?
I may
10,
lose
15. okay. But it's still a loss. It's still in reverse. It's still in reverse.
I think you set these expectations that you're probably not going to meet, and then you're disappointed.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the year, you start reflecting on what resolutions you made, and then you go into this little depression like, I didn't get anything done that I said I was going to do.
Yeah. So why do you think we make them? I mean, is it just like, oh, the year is turning over and I should, or it's a popular thing to do? Or do you think it's one of those things where you kind of look back at the year and you're like, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, so maybe I need to set a precedence and make a resolution that I'm going to do this? What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both, so that everyone else is doing it. So, now we have social media.
Yeah.
So we know what everyone's doing,
Yeah.
what they're thinking, what they didn't do, and what struggles they're having.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons that we see it. It's in our face.
Do you think, now this is what I found for me, and I don't know if it's the pressure of the season, the fact that the year is turning over. I can make those commitments to myself at another date and actually keep it. So what is that? Is the
pressure.
New Year resolution like a curse? Like is it?
I think it's a pressure that you feel obligated to do it. So why do it on January 1st?
Right.
Can I do it on March 1st? And it's still going to be for that year.
For that year. Yeah, maybe it's just, we're going to have to research. If anybody knows, comment, share, tell us on the bottom, like where that tradition came from. Like who came up with, it's the turn of the year, I have to give myself a goal. Because I have to tell you, last year, it was in December, I was, between medication and stresses and stuff like that, I'd put on a lot of weight. And so I decided to try the keto lifestyle. If you haven't heard anything about that, keto was low carb. Actually, it's practically no carb.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, well, we will talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that in the podcast because I have lost weight on Weight Watchers once before, a significant amount of weight, 120 pounds.
Wow.
I did, but it's like a week, I think it was 7 years. I kept it off for 7 years and then got pregnant with Olivia. There you go. You know what I mean? And then I put it back on and I've never kind of been the same. But again, kind of restarting life and things like that. I'm just going to say, being 50, we talked about that the last podcast. I thought I've got to be at my best. Right. First of all, thinner makes me look a little younger. A little bit. A little bit. For me, and I think I feel lighter. I feel better. So I started the whole keto thing in December of last year.
Okay.
So I didn't make it a resolution. I just figured the holidays was coming up and I didn't want to overeat, and I figured that would be a help of a discipline for me.
Right.
So it's been over a year now. I've dropped about 40 pounds awesome. Doing that. It's for me, it's something that works for me.
Right.
Right. So after I got over the grumpiness and the hangriness of not having sugar, oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh my gosh, there were like people sliding food under my office door, like, please just give her a candy bar. We don't even like her. You know what I mean? But it kind of worked for me, but it wasn't a New Year's thing.
See, and okay, look at January, the gyms, the weight loss, all of those things happen.
The books that fly off the shelves from Amazon and Barnes and Noble because people are trying to do all these
so
things.
Is it a sell gimmick to get us to buy into things? Maybe it's retail.
Maybe it's retail. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's the commercialization of all this stuff to kind of get us to buy in. Because really, I don't really know of a person who started something in January. I mean, I really don't. Who kind of kept it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't, maybe at that season, it's not really sincere. It's fad.
Right, because everyone else is doing it.
Because everyone else is doing it.
So maybe we need to start this new trend that March.
Yeah. Maybe so. You know what I mean?
Right?
When everything is relaxed and you can stop and you can take a look at the things that you really want to change. And if you do want to make that change, I think it needs to be a realistic change.
Right.
It needs to be something that you can honestly and sincerely do in your life. Like people go into this weight loss. People always pick weight loss. And they make it huge.
Right.
They make it huge. They don't say, let me just shave off this 10.
Right.
They always say, I need to knock off 70 pounds. You know what I mean? And it's kind of unrealistic to go into that.
Right.
And then they go in, they hit, you've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
If I could possibly manage it, I might clip on some of the gym videos of people who are trying to work out, don't know how to do it, go crazy for a month, and then they just can't sustain it.
Right.
You know, because it wasn't suited for their life. It wasn't realistic.
Right.
So if you were to make one, let's say now, we won't even call it a resolution. If you were to look into 2020 and say, this is something realistically for me, I would like to make even a monochrome of change. Let's not make that big loop thing. Let's just say this is something for me in that out of this year I could reasonably do. Would not feel guilty if you didn't fully accomplish it. But if you did it, you could say going into 2021, I'm glad I did that. Wow. You ever thought of it? Should I give you a moment to think about it?
So there's a couple things that are on the top of my head. And being a believer that I'm guilty of is praying every day and reading my Bible every day. So I think that would be a huge one for me.
Yeah. I know, because I ebb and flow. I ebb and flow. I'll go at a really good season, then one day I sleep in.
Right.
And my streak is blown.
Right.
Guilt kicks in.
You know, and I've done where I put the little reminder on my phone, but I don't have to remind myself to go check my Facebook page. Okay. Yeah. And so I don't know about you, but on my phone, it has how much time you spend on social media.
Oh, it sure does.
Girl. I think it was on
sorry,
average. Lord.
I'm sorry.
It's like, I said, I spent 12 hours last week on social media, but I can't pick up my Bible.
Oh,
you see, I have a problem. That's a whole nother, I got a problem.
We'll talk about that because I think we're all getting a little hooked relative to that. We're all going to have to figure out how to unplug.
Yeah, so maybe that would be
a thing. Unplugging. Go down to 11 hours. Let's just go down to 11 hours.
So that's my resolution, to go down. Off my social media.
Off of our social media.
Which will free up some time for me to do some other things.
That's what we do, where we do this thing like I did this. When I started doing the keto thing, they suggest that you, girl, have the amount of water I have to drink. Because you have to drink every ounce for every pound you weigh.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's what they want you to do. They want you to drink an ounce for every pound that you weigh. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you have to drink 150 ounces of water a day.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, my kidneys were floating for the first week, me just trying to get this down. But it was one of those things, and I liked Diet Pepsi, Diet Coke, and the sugar in that they don't want you to use. So what I did was I'd say, I have to drink 3 glasses of water before I allow myself even 4 ounces of Diet Coke.
Okay.
So I would drink this water, and after I drank the water, I wasn't thirsty anymore, so I never even went to the Coke. So it kind of counterbalanced and kind of helped me do that. So that was one thing I think I did that helped me out, that was kind of crucial to the diet. I don't know if I were to call it a resolution, but it just helped me get more water down. It is a goal.
And that's what resolutions are.
Yeah, and something simple, like I said, and something that's good to your life. So I'm just going to mention this because for me, over the last couple of years, because I wanted to, and it wasn't necessarily a New Year's resolution, it was a health thing for me.
Right.
You will hear me say, I'm I appreciate counselors, and I'm all for them, especially the right counselor.
Absolutely.
I'm all about taking care of your mental health.
Absolutely.
It is so important. I'm very hooked on growing just as a person. You know what I mean? I don't have to be out there doing everything that is substantial to somebody else, but I do want to better me, and I know it. So one thing I thought was very important is this book. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's called Emotional Intelligence.
Yes, I've heard about this book.
Emotional Intelligence. This is an absolute excellent book. It is written by Travis Bradbury and Jean Graves. The foreword is done by a guy named Patrick Lencioni. He does a lot of leadership books and things like that. So because I've spent the last couple years restarting life, and I didn't want to walk into what I walked out of.
Ooh.
Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Because I take me wherever I go.
Right.
I can't blame the world for what's dysfunctional or broken in my life.
Right.
Because I take me wherever I go. I wanted to better me.
Right. And you're going to be the common denominator.
I'm going to be the common denominator in any friendship, relationship, job. I take me wherever I go. Right. So I wanted to know a little bit more about myself.
Right.
And how I would handle or newly handle or I wondered what attracted me to what necessarily wasn't good for me in the first place. And because I wasn't aware of it,
right,
how can I wake myself up to being more of aware of who I am, and how could I grow? People say that you grow in relationships by being in a relationship, right? Well, I however worked, and now I'm on my own.
Right.
And how do I learn about me?
Mm-hmm.
How do I investigate me? Counseling is a great thing. Having a personal counselor, walking through those issues are absolutely fantastic, but I love to read. And Emotional Intelligence, this book, strongly suggest that you get it if you're wanting just to learn how to handle things differently, better, according to who you are.
And learning to, and I kind of went through that similar thing where you have to learn to, I spent time by myself, not be in a relationship with anyone else, because I needed to learn to love me.
That's a big thing.
Yes.
In any situation, you will learn, I think, in life, that I think every person should take on, not necessarily as a New Year's resolution, but everybody should be aware of themselves, should be able to know their own identity, what you like and what you don't like. There was a really great movie. Julia Roberts was in it. I think it was called Runaway Bride. But she would adapt herself to every man she met. Like I remember the big question that someone at the end of the movie used to say to her, "What eggs do you like? How do you like your eggs?" And she's like, "Well, when I was with Richard, I liked him poached." Do you remember when I was with Dandel, I liked him scrambled? Right. You know what I mean? All this different stuff, because she didn't know herself. And so she had to spend time. So regardless of whether you're in a relationship, you're a mother, you're employee, you're a person of faith, learn yourself.
And love yourself.
No matter what your weight is, no matter what your age is, no matter what your role is in life.
Right, because if you don't love yourself, you can't expect anyone else.
How can you teach somebody else to? Yeah. How can you teach somebody else what you need and what you like and what you want if you don't know yourself?
Absolutely.
So I guess in the end of this, Hope and I have determined that New Year's resolutions are a waste of time. They're a waste of time. There's too much pressure at the beginning of the year to do what everybody else is doing. But we do strongly encourage you to take a moment sometime out of the next year.
And just write down what you want to see.
Write down what you want to see.
Yes.
Yeah, and work on you and do it in your time frame. And I'm pretty sure you're going to find something beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We love us.
Yes.
We love us.
I love you.
I love you too. I'm so looking forward to us doing this, hoping continuing to do it. We're going to have a great time. Well, hey, everybody. Once again, like, share, tag your friends, comment at the bottom. We want to hear from you. Let's talk about different subjects. Let us know your input. We'd love to know your input on this. And we hope you've enjoyed this time together. And we'll see you on the next episode of At This Age.